artist and educator LD Nehls, and I like making ink. Going for walks in nature is one of my favorite places to get inspiration, but usually I make acrylic paintings, like the shiny painting, using paint that I buy from the store. These are some paintings inspired by pawpaws and persimmons and burnet woods. So most of the work that I make as an artist, I buy the materials for it because those are usually light, fast, and acid-free, and the color won't fade over time. But I've been having a lot of fun making my own ink, and this is from this past fall, and I'm super surprised and happy to see the color has hardly faded at all. I made these for Action Tank for them to use for Zoom backgrounds, and this is a pokeberry ink, an acorn ink. This is from black beans, just normal black beans from the store, and a goldenrod ink. All of that was stuff that was at the end of fall. And this is something that I made in the fall to see how the colors would change over time. I'm pretty surprised and pleased. They're hanging in there, they're hanging tight. And these are all different species of oak trees and acorn caps. Now it's the beginning of spring, so there aren't a ton of things to make ink out of other than acorn caps and the things that have been there all winter. So I just went to the store and I bought some regular old blackberries. I look things up online and I look them up in books, and that's usually where I get my ideas from. A good trip to the library, do a little research there, but I also like just playing around, seeing what happens. Sometimes it's a fun surprise. Sometimes you get a result that looks completely different than what other people did. So the ink that we're going to make today, the ink we're going to try to make today and see what happens, we're just using blackberries, a pot that I only use for ink because sometimes I might be making an ink with something that I don't really want to eat after. So the first step is going to be just putting these blackberries in here, putting them on medium heat on the stove. And then we're going to mash them up with a fork. This is probably a good time to mention that these might stain your hands or your clothes. So if you have an apron, you want to throw your apron on and let it cook over a medium-low heat for a while until it starts to look like something that I can turn into ink. Now that I have my blackberries all mashed up and cooked down with a little bit of vinegar and a little bit of salt to act as a preservative, I'm going to put my sieve in my bowl, and this part can get a little messy, so I have an apron on. And then I have my old fabric that I don't care about to use as a cheesecloth. Then I'm going to dump my blackberry mush into this fabric, and then I'm going to get a little messy and mash that down. A very important step, letting this cool down so you don't burn your fingers. And now that I've gotten most, or at least a lot of the liquid out of there, I'm going to gently lift this up and speed that process along by really slowly squeezing it. So if you squeeze this too much, you'll get it all over yourself and it'll splash. And I'm going to twist that as the liquid drops out. Now I'm going to pour this slowly into my cute little jar, and I'm going to store this in my fridge. Most inks that you make out of food like this will get moldy eventually, just like a jam would, but by storing it in a nice cold dark fridge with a little bit of that vinegar and salt in it, hopefully it'll last for a while. There's only one way to find out. And I'm going to label this very carefully so that nobody thinks that it is going to be a tasty treat. So let's see how this ink turned out. I have my dip pen, my sketchbook, the big reveal, turned out pretty. Oop. Doing this vertical, a little bit of a blurb. Let's see what this looks like with a paintbrush. I am pretty happy with how this has turned out. So we don't know how this is gonna look when it dries, but I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun using this with my other inks and seeing how they react with each other and how they affect each other's colors. I hope this inspires you to do your own experiments to see if there's anything you can find in your backyard or your fridge that you can make an ink out of. And I hope you have a lot of fun making your own ink, and good luck!